This episode of the SHL broadcast is brought to you by the Big Chili magazine, where in this issue there is an article about Kathleen Pokrad. Kathy was born in Hong Kong and worked for the Hong Kong Trade Development Council before moving to Thailand in 1991. For the past decade, she has volunteered in education and women empowerment. The article is titled Non-Stop Kathy, Doyon of Hong Kong Ladies in Thailand. So we've just finished off week 3 in the SHL.
Yeah, it was an exciting week of games. I'm happy to have Dom joining me today from normally behind the camera. Jesse couldn't join us, but I'm happy he's here. And wow, this first game, coming into it, I really felt SiamMandalay 0-2, from a couple seasons ago. Mike Friesen's team, Novotel Spitfires, were steamrolling, and I thought they're looking to turn it back around. And in the first period, it was a very tight game.
Yeah, in the first period, the game itself was a good game. It's not, although if you look at the score sheet, yes, SiamMandalay got blown out of the water. We'll get into that. But they're struggling. Part of the reason that they're struggling is I think Friesen made a bold but mistaken choice in drafting very few actual defensemen.
Natural defensemen, yeah.
Natural defensemen. I'm looking at their roster, and really there's only two natural defensemen. And you have a lot of aggressive offensive forwards, and then you put them on defense, and you get caught defensively, and you guys can come back, but it's hard to do that. Oh, I'm sorry, there's 3 because I forgot about Andy Shee. You've got Andy, Ralph, and Adam Simpson.
Sure, but to your point, you put somebody out of position. Furthermore, you've got chemistry issues. We're only a month into the season, a few games in. You need that ice time to get comfortable with somebody, to know where they're going to be. Yep. If I can push forward, I know you're going to be covering me, and vice versa. And they're just still working those things out. Now, to your point, this was an exciting game. The other huge storyline, in my personal opinion, was the goaltender for KCG, Dom. He had a very strong game. These are not easy shots. He was facing odd man rushes, breakaways, and this is not, Joe Blow. It was Mike Friesen,
Tom Stasny, Dan Sinaguglia.
People who have professional experience playing in foreign leagues, and he was stoning them all night. Just did a really good job of tracking the puck.
Yeah, it was... What I see when I watch Dom play is it's like shades of Leo.
I can see that.
So, and I think if Dom continues down the track that he's going, he will surpass him.
That's high praise for our SHL fans. Leo Liao, our former goaltender, is now back in Taiwan, I believe, or in China. Statistically, every season he played was the best goaltender, goals against average, save percentage. Just did a really solid job of not being ever too flashy, or he was never going to go for the cartwheel save, but he was just kind of always in good positioning, tracking the puck really well, and he trusted his defenseman in front of him to support him.
And I see that in Dom. So
that's an apt description. That's the first time somebody said that. I think that makes sense based on what I saw.
Mm-hmm. So, and not to take anything away from Dream, but Dream really did have a rough night.
It was tough for him on the opposite end of the ice. Similarly, we have all these odd man rushes going back and forth. It felt like Dom would make a save, and that would spring his offense in contrast.
Yep.
Then his team, KCG, was an opportunity for an odd man rush, and they weren't really missing their chances.
No, they weren't missing their chances. They were pulling Dream out of position, or they were catching the rebounds, and the defensemen weren't coming back like they should. They weren't covering the odd man, and they weren't. It's just difficult, and I kind of felt for SiamMandalay, and it's tough, but it looks like they got the Aware curse was transferred to SiamMandalay.
Well, we're only a month in. We've finally just played each team once.
Yes.
So now we have, as I alluded to, that opportunity for a little bit more chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have an idea of what KCG is tending to try and do, of what Team Aware is trying to do, of what SiamMandalay is trying to do, of what Lexicon's trying to do. And that's going to help their team planning a little bit. I mean, on paper, you look at shots on goal. Shots on goal are one away from even.
Yep, 27 and 28.
You know?
So.
And these are, again, like we talked about, not average Joe players. These are quality players with international experience,
Mm-hmm.
good pedigrees, and I think if they just kind of settle down a little bit and get their feet under them, so to speak.
Well, if I was KCG, I wouldn't be settling down.
Well, of course not, right? You want to
I'd keep going.
keep it going at them, but this is for SiamMandalay to try and get back in this, you know. They have that leadership on that team. I think they could do it. A huge key for them, though, is they need to score first, I think.
They need to score first. They need to get all of their players there. They've been having a few absent players, which happens throughout the season. So
yeah, everybody's going to have to deal with that. So I agree on the one hand. On the other, you know, like I said, my feeling is similar to Aware. They would get behind by a goal or two, and then they suddenly start like, okay, we have to press. We have to get back in this game.
Everybody's trying to
and
do
that
it
makes it worse.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, okay, so let's look at the scoring for KCG.
Yeah, let's get into the specifics. So first period, like we talked about, was tight.
Yes, it was.
Finally, 13:42 of the first period, we got a goal scored by
Jan Isaksson.
The Thailand national player has looked very strong this early going in the season.
He has.
I think he's got a point each game at least.
Yes, I believe he has.
So always being productive for his team, putting guys around him and elevating their play. This is a playmaker. He makes people around him better with his setup, and if he's given a chance to score as well, like in this case, he buries it.
He does. As a matter of fact, he did it 3 times in this game.
He did.
Got a hat trick. And as I said, or as you had said, he also assists in other people. And in later in the second period, he did get an assist on one of the goals. So
set up this time by his national team teammate Tan Lindenpet.
Tan had a great game as well. He's really coming into his own in the SHL.
He has been a very consistent player. A couple of seasons ago on SiamMandalay, they had that all-Thai line that we always talked about, and he was a huge engine in that cog.
Mm-hmm. And to see him working with Jan and some of the other players, it's like his game has stepped up a level this year, which I like to see.
I agree with that.
So
after a scoreless first, it still felt tight, and Jesse and I doing the commentary for this game, or I believe it was actually John Shifnowski and I doing the commentary for this game, felt like it was a good game. You know, It was tight. Both sides were having these rushes that we had talked about already. Both goaltenders up to this point were playing quite well, but it just felt like once Dream let in one goal, then it just kind of, like we talked about already.
Well, I mean, it went through the whole
pressing.
first. Yeah, it started the whole first period, though. I mean, they scored. KCG scored early in the first period, and then they stopped them for the rest of the period.
Rest of the period, yeah.
But then
same thing in the second.
I'll tell you what, David Bohr scoring that goal, and he's another one that I believe
huge fire starter in a good way.
Yeah, and I believe he's got another one who's got a point in every game or close to it. His game has stepped up this season as well.
This is a guy playing with some people half of his age.
Yeah.
And he is skating to the whistle to the end of his shift every time. And it doesn't matter if it's a tie game in overtime or in this game when they had a 9-goal lead at one point. Mm-hmm. He will not quit. He back checks. He's harassing. He's got that grinder mentality. But now he's added this scoring touch.
And he's staying out of the penalty box.
Correct. He's playing cleanly. I will give him a lot of credit for that. I know in the past sometimes he'd get a call and that would kind of get him upset. But he's played very cleanly.
Yep. So, and then the second goal of the period, Tan.
Again, setting up from that tie line. This time set up by Brandon Vick and
Nick Lamson.
Yep, Lamson.
The Thai American brand new this year, who
that line
I expect a lot from.
That line looked very good tonight. It was Jan, Vick, Brandon Vick, Tan, Simpson on the back, and I think it was also Roman on the back end.
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that 5 set of skaters, you've got a wonderful balance of strong defense, puck moving, guys who can get into scoring position, set each other up. They're going to be exciting to watch.
Jesse drafted really well with his defensive players. I was really impressed with that. So,
and to take nothing away from Jesse himself is like, I'm not the best player on this team, and he's your second line, skater. Normally a center, and he sometimes plays the wing, but he is no slouch either. He's a very humble guy.
He's one of those. I call him the sleeper player because everybody kind of like after a game or two they kind of forget about him, and then he starts putting the puck in the net, and everybody goes, "Whoa, wait a second, we forgot about Jesse."
And as I say, right, fourth goal of the game scored by Jesse,
which was assisted by Alex and Major, who was subbing tonight.
Major had a really great game as a sub.
He did. Yes, he did.
Looked very solid. Got a goal and an assist. Before that goal by Major, we got another goal by Tan to finish out. Or no, one more goal there. So another goal by Tan, assisted this time by Sean and
number 8,
Jan
Isaksson, of course. And Sean is another great sub. He's coming from Jakarta. So.
Oh, okay. Very good. And then for me, always a backbreaker, the first and the last minute of the period. Another one this time. And this one was the goal scored by Major this time with assists by David Bohr and Roman Laren.
Yep.
So all of a sudden it went from a 1-0 game, and then after the second period it's 6-0.
That's hard. It's really difficult to come back from. It's hard. Being a player, it's really difficult. When you look up at that scoreboard at the end of the second period and it's 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, it's just like, what can we do?
And again, like we said, it's not like they didn't have their chances offensively.
No, I agree.
All night, if you watch the game film, they've got odd man rushes, they've got a few breakaways, they've had a little bit of sustained pressure, but that's my biggest thing for KCG's team defense in this game. They did not allow SiamMandalay to have set plays.
No.
They would rarely give up a clean shot, and if they did, they got the puck out of the zone. They were content to just dump and chase and to kind of reset, because they did a really good job with their forechecking of mucking up the play in the neutral area and not allowing clean zone entries.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to the rematch between KCG and the Lumberjacks. That should be fun coming in the future.
Fantastic game,
Now we're getting into the third period, and right away,
just barely over a minute into the period, Jan again,
and an unassisted goal.
Yeah. Just so much individual talent.
And then, which was followed up with Nick getting an unassisted goal. And I think Nick is just getting used to Thai hockey, so it'd be interesting. He's one of the guys in our league that's actually, if I'm not mistaken, listed on Hockey DB. So we have a few of them.
Yeah.
But I've played against him in Shinny, and it's just unbelievable. So
some people just have that, sixth sense, so to speak. He's one of those guys where by the time he's receiving the puck, he already knows where he's placing it. And you hear some other people talk about like, oh, well, I had to think about catching the puck and then put my head up and see the guy and pass it. And by that point,
Nick already knows where he's going.
Exactly.
So, and then with 8 minutes left in the game, Jan finishes off his hat trick with the assist coming from Roman.
Natural hattie from him. And at this point, John and I are thinking, maybe Dom's going to get a shutout. I mean, he's been
see, that's where it came from.
That's the announcer's curse.
Yeah, there it is. So that's why.
Because he played so well the whole night. Again, these aren't cartwheel Dominic Hasek saves.
No.
He was just really solid positioning, trusting his defenseman to not allow secondary opportunities. I mean, he did have a few beautiful flashes of the leather with the glove, getting his stick set and his pads out. But a minute left in the game, 30 seconds left in the game, SiamMandalay finally able to break through, get over the goose egg with Ed McConnell scoring.
Which gave him the star for the SiamMandalay in that game. So, and get fresh player of the game, obviously, is going to go to Jan Isaksson.
Personally, I actually thought about giving it to Dom just because of how tight the game was. If it had been a blowout with the sense that SiamMandalay wasn't getting their shots and it was kind of a cakewalk, I would still understand. And I think Jan is not a poor choice considering the hat trick 4-point night. But I think Dom just played so well. Only one goal allowed with 28 shots faced.
It was a tough decision. It was myself and the captains and the referee did talk about it briefly, but I mean, Jan just had an amazing game overall.
And I think Dom has that interview with Jan.
I'm here with the Get Fresh Player of the Game, Jan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hat trick tonight?
Yeah, man, it felt good out there. I felt like both of the lines had a lot of chances. So, I mean, good game for sure.
I was watching the game from the sideline, and you guys played really well as a team tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like we came out strong straight away. Like we got a goal like in the first shift there, and then I mean we got the momentum. I mean, and we just kept building on that. So.
Excellent. Well, congratulations again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, before we get into our second game, we want to talk about the Defensive Player of the Month, which is sponsored by Easy Fresh, and the Goaltender Player of the Month, which is also sponsored by Easy Fresh. Easy Fresh are doing our Players of the Month. Defensive Player, well earned, went to Denis Omelka.
I can't tell you how many people mentioned his name as a player to watch as well coming into this season, and he's really proved it.
I remember him from the last season in the SHL 2 years ago, and watching him play then and watching him play now, he is a very different player. He's more open. He's more willing to play as a team, and he's back checking when he rushes the puck as a defenseman. It was really, I think, like I said, it was well deserved for the Defensive Player of the Month.
Certainly played well. Another icing on the cake for me is he got hurt pretty badly, I believe, in that season, right? Didn't he fall in
He hurt his arm. It was his wrist that he hurt, and then in the BIHL, he took a stick to just outside the eye, which was kind of scary as well. So
the fact that he's bounced back from multiple relatively serious injuries, continue to play consistency, really happy for you, Dennis. Well-earned Defensive Player of the Month.
And then this, which I felt, the way he played in the first 2 games of the season, the Goaltender of the Month, was Lance.
Lancer, I love watching him play. As in a contrast to Dom's style, Lance does have that Dominic Hasek. He's going to throw everything he's got at you.
Even if it takes him out of the play sometimes.
Sometimes, right? But when it works, it works.
Yes, it does. And that you saw it in the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah.
So,
well-earned, Lance. Congratulations.
So, getting into our second game of the night, we had the Lexicon Lumberjacks versus Aware. This, I thought, it was a really good game, but I didn't think Aware was going to put up the fight that they did.
Yeah, I mean, when you are early in the going, the undefeated team, people have got your number, right?
Yeah,
they're going to show up for that game. They want to be the ones to dethrone the King of the Hill, and Aware really came out firing.
They did. As a matter of fact, end of the first period, they were in the lead 2-1.
Correct. It was actually 2-0 for the first part of the game.
Yeah.
It took Lexicon weathering the early storm of Aware and just mounting their comeback for them to get back into this game.
And it's nice to see some of the mainstays for that who's playing for Aware this year. Michael White, he opened things up with the first goal, which was assisted by Devin Michael and Patrick Forstner.
Another great Thai national player, Patrick Forstner.
Yep.
He has such good speed and hands, was flying around the ice all night, played really well in a losing effort. Goal scorer, Michael White, he's a SHL veteran, longtime hockey in Thailand veteran, has been here for over a decade playing, I believe.
Yep. Yes, he
And
has.
he's always a fun guy to watch. He's similar to Scotty Hockey in the sense that he's crafty. He's learned, well, genuinely speaking, he's learned that I can't skate at the speed of the young Thai national player guys, but he knows exactly when to give his little spurt to kind of pick your pocket a little bit, and then he's off to the other end.
And he's always plays with his head up. So, you think you've got him, and next thing you know, he no longer has the puck. He's passed it off to somebody.
He was an integral part of that White Walkers line from a few seasons ago.
Yes, he was. So, and then our second goal of the period went to Oleg Kabakov, which was assisted again by Devin, and Michael White picked up the assist.
Devin looking really solid in the early season for Aware.
Yes, he is. So
said his name a lot as well. And again, Michael White showing his skills. So, early storm Aware, great pressure, had a lot of good speed. Goaltending looked pretty good early on, and you were relying on that. Speaking of goaltending, this was Jimmy McAleer's first ever SHL game, I believe.
Yes, it was. And he's one of the youngest goaltenders that we've ever had as well. So
it was fun to watch him play, get his first little taste of SHL action. And I know their normal starting goaltender, James, is his coach, actually, for the Thailand under-20 team. So I'm really excited to watch their relationship continue to grow, see them compete against each other, learn from each other.
The season I was out of the BIHL, Jimmy was actually one of the goaltenders for that team, for my team. So, and a lot of praise from the team for him then.
And on the other end, for Lexicon, unfortunately, both their starting goaltenders were out with illness and injury. So Greg Beatty coming in relief.
Yeah.
Fresh off of a fantastic 7-game win, 7-game undefeated streak at the ball hockey tournament in Chiang Mai for the tournament. And man,
which that Thai Sticks won. So.
Thai Sticks won, yep. And man, what a game Greg had.
He did. It was pretty impressive.
Gutsy performance.
Gutsy performance, some physical. Greg has a style all his own as a goaltender.
Yes.
It's fun to watch him play. So
kind of like Lance in some ways.
Yeah.
He's very aggressive.
Yes,
he would come out, and I'm thinking, this is a tap-in. All they got to do is go around. But somehow or another, he would get in the way, and he made it work.
Yes, he did. Though in the first period, you had the Lumberjacks not coming back, but starting their comeback and scoring their first goal, which was by Roger Promtong, the phenomenal young Thai star from the last season, which was assisted by Kim Arula, who this season, he's another one of those guys that is a very different player than he was in his first season, the last season we had in the SHL.
Both these guys, Roger and Kim, really quality young Thai players, and like you're alluding to, it just takes a little bit of that ice time to get familiar with guys' tendencies. What are your own skills by comparison? Another great player who's unfortunately not starting this year as a normal player is Mangkorn Sukwiban. He used to just go everything by himself, and in his first several games, he's got these toe drags and his highlight reel goal. But once everybody kind of figured out exactly what he was going to do, they would just skate back a little bit, let him do his move, and then
step in.
Yep. And he didn't really know how to adjust. But after a season or two, I think it was a couple seasons ago, he played for the Novotel Spitfires. Man, they had a lot of firepower on that team, but he was another key component for them. But just getting that ice time, getting that familiarity. So I've seen that with Kim and Roger, I would say, in the early going of this season. They've trusted themselves a little bit more familiarity, more comfort in the league, and it's really paying dividends.
And then going into the second period, the Lumberjacks tied it up with a goal from Denis, which was assisted by Captain Justin St. Denis.
Justin has done a very good job in all aspects of captaincy in this year, in my opinion. He's drafted really well. This is a solid, very balanced team, similar to Jesse's. I think he went with a more balanced approach. And then furthermore, he's letting his play speak for himself this season.
Yeah, definitely.
I know a couple seasons ago with the Ware, they had a rough season. They kind of got on each other a little bit. But this season, he's settled things down a little bit. And he's really, really playing at a high level.
Yes, he is. And then Ware take the lead again.
Yeah, less than a minute later. Give them credit. They came right back. This time, Patrick Forstner got the goal, assisted by number 5, Ernesto Bauer, and 55, Oleg Kabakov. Ernesto's another guy, similar in many respects, in my mind, to David Bohr, where he's really kind of a grinder. He's pressing, but I've seen him improve his play a bit. He's another guy who kind of would get in trouble a little bit with penalties at times, and he's also played quite a clean game.
And I call him a little bulldog because when he's going for the puck, he doesn't let it go. Yeah. So I've gotten in his way a few times.
So at this point, it's a 3-3 game, and unfortunately for Team Aware...
Wait, it's not a 3-3 game. You got to mention...
excuse me, I apologize. It was 3-2 at that point.
It was 3-2, but then they did tie... the Lumberjacks did tie it up with a goal from...
Ken
Kinborn. I believe this is the one that went off the mask.
Correct. So Ken, another Thai national team star, really
I believe
great.
He's the Thai captain.
He's the Thai captain this year.
Yeah.
Thai captain. really great offensive defenseman, has excellent speed, and he's so long. He's got this length that
and
he can.
it has an unbelievable awareness on the ice as well.
Yeah. So he skated in hard on Jimmy, got a hard shot off the mask, fell in front of Jimmy. Jimmy wasn't unable to cover it, and Ken just came in, poked in his own rebound for the goal, tied the game 3-3.
Yep. And then a few minutes later, we got Denis getting his second goal of the night, which was assisted by Roger again. So,
yeah. So after a little bit of a delay, Denis coming back again, like we talked about, having a really strong game. Defensive Player of the Month, all around.
He's playing really, really well this season. I mean, he did get 4 goals in this game and an assist. So,
really strong work.
And then the Lumberjacks finished off the period with another goal by Justin St. Denis, which was assisted by the Prez, John Sheknovsky.
This was a great play. This was my favorite goal of the game because you could see the chemistry between John and Denis so well on this play.
Mm-hmm.
They've played together for so long, so many seasons. They knew
St. Denis.
Yes, Justin St. Denis. They've played together for so long, in my opinion, that they just knew what they were doing. You saw John with just a little kind of a delay play at the sideboards, and he started to move towards the slot just enough to pull the weak side defenseman over, and Justin was waiting there at the opposite end of the goal for the tap in.
That was a pretty goal. So
it was a beautiful goal.
Nothing against Jimmy, but it's something hard to stop.
You can only do so much. So going in, to the third period now, it's gone from a really tight contested game and felt like Lexicon was just opening things up a little bit.
Now it's 5-3.
Yeah.
So it's tough to come. It's not impossible to come back. It's still close. It's still only a 2-goal game, but
it felt like the momentum had fundamentally shifted.
It did absolutely, due to some things that happened on the ice. But then you got just a few minutes into the third period.
Justin again,
which was assisted by Pan Hangswadi. So
Pan, another young Thai guy who Justin mentioned by name in his draft. Like, this is a guy I've seen play. I think he's really coming into his own, similar to the other guys we've already mentioned, where it just takes a little bit of ice time, get some familiarity with the league and how people are going to play. He's really done quite a good job in the early going.
And he's one of the small guys, but he's not afraid to sacrifice his body for a play. I've seen him do that quite a few times.
So now it's 6-3. This time Aware's able to come back a little bit, able to get a goal from number 6, Kelly Shim.
Said his name, young Thai star. So.
Yeah, I've said his name a lot on the broadcast. He had some speed, was flying around.
And that was a short-handed goal, which was assisted by sub Tor Chartsuwan.
So we have kind of the nice juxtaposition of young Thai and Tor, old hand who's been in the league for a long time.
Been in the league, Thai national team for a very long time. Yep, absolutely.
So shorthanded, they got back into this. You're thinking maybe this is going to get them some momentum, but unfortunately for them, the power play continued, and Lexicon did not let up.
No, they didn't. And
2 goals in 2 minutes.
Yeah, you've got Kim Arula getting a goal and Denis getting his third of the night, which was assisted by Kim. So
yeah, Kim with 3 assists in this game. So an assist trick.
Yeah. And then you've got Denis finishing it off with a shorthanded goal, which was assisted by Kim again.
Once again.
So.
And with only 30 seconds left in the game, Aware able to get one final goal across. Another goal, this time scored by Kelly, and assisted on this end by Matthew Mallard.
Mm-hmm. And that gave Kelly the Aware star. So, and the Get Fresh Player of the Game, well deserved again. I keep saying it, but this one went to Denis Omelka.
4-goal, 5-point night. Defensively strong.
Yep.
Just all around.
Always really involved in the play when he's on the ice, whether it's defensively or offensively. So. And
my favorite thing about this was, to his credit, he thanked his teammates.
Yeah, he did. He thanked his teammates. He thanked. He's one of the coaches here in Thailand. He thanked one of his the people that he coaches. He thanked their mother because they gave him a set of gloves.
That's right. It was he said it must be these new gloves I got.
So
Dom's got that interview with Dennis.
I'm here with the Get Fresh Player of the Game, Dennis. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
4 goals tonight.
Been a lucky day. Thanks to this new glove. I get a gift yesterday from June. Siam hockey steak. Siam hockey steak. Siam, what is it?
Siam steak.
Siam steak. So that's all thanks to this glove.
So you got the Defensive Player of the Month for October and the Player of the Game for today.
All I can say, lucky day.
Excellent. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so going into our 4th week of games on November 20th, in our first game of the night at 8:45, we have SiamMandalay versus the Lexicon Lumberjacks.
This is going to be interesting.
What can Siam do to get out of the hole that they're in?
So like we already talked about in our Game 1 recap, they need to work on scoring first, in my opinion, but measurably. In other words, you can't press too much because we've talked about how they don't have a lot of natural defensemen, and that's kind of hurting them in terms of like who's supposed to be where.
Yes.
So I think they need to play a smart, balanced game, look for that first goal, maybe rely on somebody like Mike Friesen, maybe Tom Stasny, you know, those guys who are really quality goal scorers.
One of the things I have noticed this year is Tom Stasny has been playing a lot of D. So
he has. So I don't know if that's because Mike feels like he doesn't have a better defenseman. I mean, just personally speaking, when I saw the draft and I saw those 2 names in the same team again, and I'm just my humble opinion, the 2 best centers in the league, I thought they were going to be loaded.
Yeah.
You know, but he's been playing Tom as a defenseman. So I think that's hurt a little bit of his offensive ability. He's certainly made his presence been felt. He's had a few chances. I think he scored at least 1 goal in the first few games. So he's not completely taken Tom's game away, but
No.
I feel like he's just playing out of position, and that's...
I think so, and it's difficult. I mean, myself being a natural defenseman, when I have to play forward, I feel like I'm not playing my game. I've been taken out of it. I do the best I can, but it's quite difficult, you know?
So that number 1 would be my biggest thing is can CM score first, have a little bit of a cushion then, and relax. The second thing, Dreams had a couple rough games, and I'm wondering if maybe Mike should consider going to Igor, who hasn't started yet.
That's right. So maybe it's the chance for Igor to prove that he deserves a spot in the SHL. I mean, he has come out and he has subbed in 1 game a few seasons ago, but I'd like to see what he can do in a game where like it makes a difference. So.
Sure. And they're coming up against Lexicon, as I talked about already. They're the king of the hill right now. You should need no extra motivation against these guys. You want to be the ones to knock them off. Get your first win of the season against the undefeated team.
Oh, that would be a great thing for SiamMandalay to do. But it's going to be tough. Mike's got a lot of things he needs to take care of, and it can be done. But will it be this game?
It's going to be tough. I mean, for me, Justin, just keep doing what you're doing. You keep seeming to press the right buttons. You know, your guys are playing relaxed. Even when they're down, they're not concerned. You know, you don't see them stressing and pressing and letting them, play their own game. And it's been fun to watch.
And then in our second game of the night at 9:45, we have Aware facing off against KCG.
I'm really excited for this game.
This will be a good game. The two middle teams. Who's going to come out on top?
Well, the storyline that I love is that Harrison and Jesse are such good friends.
They are.
They've played together several seasons, and now all of a sudden they're
against
opposing each other. And so you have that subplot within it, and I really enjoy that subplot.
It's going to be interesting to see. Do you think they'll back off of each other?
Yeah, I mean, they're not super... They're more of a skill guys. They're not super physical.
No, yeah, that's very true. Though they both are not afraid to get a little physical when it's
necessary. But I don't think either. I think they like each other too much to let something like that happen. I think it's going to be more of a individual competition of who got more shots and goals tonight, who got more points tonight, that kind of a thing. What I'm interested in is to see who the goaltenders are going to be. Who do they pick as starters? You know, because you've got both squads got quality goaltenders, and they have to pick between the two of them.
They do. Yeah.
Does Harrison want to give Jimmy another chance to go back to James? And for KCG, I want to say, who's playing for KCG?
For KCG, I believe
Gotta remember.
Yeah, that's because we got so many goalies
Get some
right
goalies
now.
this year. It used to be one a team.
Yeah. So we've got
Gabor,
who has played one game, and no, Gabor hasn't played. Yeah, he has. With I'm at a loss.
It's Gabor and go back to the top. It's right there, isn't it? Dom. Oh yeah, Dom. So
of
Dom
course.
coming up.
Sorry.
Of course. Sorry, Dom. After you had such a great game.
Yeah.
So I would probably continue riding Dom, but Gabor also can be a stealer when he wants to be.
When he's on his game, he's really tough to beat. Personally, I would go with Dom.
After
but
such a strong game. Yeah.
after such a strong game, and also for Harrison, I would like to see if Jimmy can make a comeback. So I would go with Jimmy instead of James. Nothing against James; he's a great goalie, but
Sure. I think that's legitimate. Let the young guy get another game under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
See how he does.
So
And you got, like we talked about, top to bottom, both those rosters are very balanced teams. You got solid defensemen, playmakers, grinders. Should be a fun game to watch.
all right, well that's all for this week.
We'll see you at the rink.
The opposite was very strong. I was good.
The Sport Corner's Siam Hockey League news is brought to you by Big Chili Magazine, the best read expat lifestyle and news magazine in Thailand. It covers interesting issues in Bangkok and the region while bringing its readers engaging stories and various exclusive interviews, food reviews, and more. You can find the Big Chili magazine in bookstores and online at thebigchili.com. The music for the opening and ending credits are brought to you by DJ Caucasian.